So now we're going to discuss how to analyze the data collected with the Algal CO2 package, the FL23. This is the experimental data that we just collected. There are 2 pages in this experimental file. The first page, page 1, is where all the data is visible. It's collected in this table. It's shown on the meters and in the 2 graphs. To do the data analysis, we proceed to page 2, which is selected in the top menu. Page 2 is where all the calculations are done, and the calculation formulas are explained in this little text box. There are red columns and black columns. Red columns is where we have to enter data. Black columns will be automatically calculated. So we have to put some parameters here which we measured in our experiment before we can calculate the final carbon exchange rate, the CER, which is given here in micromoles per minute. The key parameters to enter is the reference CO2 level. So that's the level when the gas is flowing, bypassing the chamber with our algal culture. Analysis CO2 level, that's the level when the gas is bubbling through your culture. And the flow rate through the system, and that is being measured with our rotometer style flow meter, but if we have a mass flow monitor as part of the system, the data for that is also recorded. Gas temperature, that will be temperature in your room. We don't have a temperature sensor set up here. And atmospheric pressure, you can get an optional pressure sensor if you wish, or you can obtain the atmospheric pressure levels from a local weather station on the internet. Once these data are entered in red columns, the black columns will be automatically populated. So to obtain these levels of CO2, the reference level, we go back to our raw data. If you recall, the reference CO2 levels were measured right at the beginning here. So what we do is we highlight the region when CO2 was being measured directly out of your gas bag, and then we go to statistics, little icon in the top menu, click on that, and this provides us with all the statistics for that region of data, and that's the minimum value, the maximum value, and the mean. It's the mean that we are interested in, 405.1, and that is the number that we will enter here under analysis reference, rather, CO2. So 405.1, enter. We can label this also sample number 1, run number 1. If you do many measurements, you want to keep track of your calculations. Analysis CO2 is the levels that we will obtain from the raw data after the gas is bubbling through your cuvette with your algal culture. And of course, if the light is turned on and you've got algae in your cuvette, CO2 levels will actually drop, not increase, because CO2 is being consumed during photosynthesis. In the dark, you may find that the CO2 levels are going up as your algal culture is respiring without the light. So what you do is you highlight that region of the data. You again go to statistics. This will provide you with your mean value for this region of data, 418.9. We go back to our analysis, 418.9, enter, and you can see the differential CO2, so the difference between analysis and reference is automatically calculated. So there's 13.8 parts per million of CO2 that's being released from that water. So that will be CO2 that's actually dissolved CO2 in the water. The flow rate that we used in this experiment, measured by the rotometer flow meter, was 200 mils per minute. So you enter that here. The temperature will be room temperature, in this case 20 degrees Celsius. And atmospheric pressure, we're going to make an assumption that it's around 760 millimeters of mercury, close to 1 atmosphere. And that allows the calculations of the molecular flow and then carbon exchange rate. The carbon exchange rate, it's in micromoles of CO2 per minute. If you do take subsample of your culture and extract chlorophyll, you can then divide this by your milligrams of chlorophyll in your culture and get your carbon exchange rate in micromoles per minute per milligram of chlorophyll. So that's basically how the software works. It's all set up for you. You have a calculation page where you enter some numbers to get your final carbon exchange rate, and the first page where all the data is being collected. That's it. Thank you very much.